Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my Wednesday night sessions. Thank you to everybody who watched or commented or shared my video from last week. It has done much more than I thought it was ever going to be. So tonight we're going to be talking about all things to do with work-child balance, which has become the new normal since the coronavirus lockdown. So tonight, if anybody's there, can we get a technical thumbs up if you can hear me and everything is working fine? I just want to double check that everything is here. Hello, everybody. And so if you don't know me, thank you, Helen. If you don't know me, I'm Helen and I am a life coach based in Staines. And if you didn't see last week's session was about fear, needs and control in this uncertain time. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it, go back to my page and have a little look there. So tonight we're going to be talking about some tips and tricks about trying to juggle that work at home and the child at home when you feel like maybe you're not doing the best as normal on either camps, which came in from Annie. And then we're going to move on to sort of managing behaviour and our reactions to behaviour during this time. So if you know of anybody who might be interested in watching these things, please do comment and tag them in the comments below for them to watch a bit later. So before I start and kick off in everything, what I just want to say is I am not the expert in your life. I'm the expert in my life, I like to think sometimes. But this is, or everything that I'm talking about tonight is around stuff that I've found either useful for me to put myself in practice myself with my kids, or it's stuff that I've read about that I think might be useful in other people's situations. So let's just kick off. So like I said, the first thing is around work-child balance, and Annie asked if I've got any tips on how to feel better about the work-child balance when you're doing neither to the best of your ability at the moment. So what I would... Oh, hi Annie! Thanks for the question. So what I would like to say is that I'm going to split this into two sections. So the first section is around practical ideas, either stuff that I've done or things that other people I've read about from online. And then I'm going to move into the emotional side of things and what's going on and other ways that we could look at this. So first of all, I think from a practical side of things, I have been suffering probably this week now we're on holidays, much more so than the two previous weeks of lockdown, because first 2 weeks I had a structure, and my structure was from sort of 8 o'clock until 3. We had something that mimicked pretty much the school day in the fact that it had snack times, break times, lunch times. So there wasn't a constant, can I have a snack, can I have a snack, can I have a snack? Instead it was, they knew what was coming, they knew what was expected of them, and that was good. This week, it all went to the proverbial, shall I say, where we haven't had, and it's just been screen time, boredom, constant. If I had an apron on, they'd be pulling on the strings. So I definitely say, as much as you can, and this is both for work and for the children, try to create a routine for yourself based on what you can control during your day. And also, as you enter each day, can you sort of plan it? So what I like to do is say, these are the hours I've got. These are the times that I know I needed undivided attention for my child or undivided attention for work. And so this is how I'm going to make the day work, because I know if I sit her in front of the iPad, I've got a good hour and I can do that really important call. Or I know that I can do a bit of work where we're sat next to each other, she's drawing and she's going to show me it while I'm just doing a spreadsheet or something like that, just managing those two different things. The other thing I definitely encourage is is to be realistic with your expectations. So right now, we're all being a teacher, we're being mums, we're being the dinner lady, we're doing all the household chores, which is a mess because there's more people here more of the time, if it's anything like my house anyway. And an employee, that's 5 duties, and you're trying to do that all day, every day. Just, if something's got to give, you need to give yourself a bit of a pat on the back that you're still alive every day and be grateful that you are. The other thing, I think, from reading around the internet, a big thing right now is the tension between couples. So people are living in each other's pockets 24 hours a day. And if there's an imbalance in sort of parenting or work or anything like that, then it's really getting felt, and you're there 24 hours a day. And so try to share the load as best you can. So I know some people where the dad is working really early, so gets up, start working about 7, but then finishes maybe 2 and takes over the hours in the afternoon, so the wife can do the sort of late shift then while he watches the kids. So that's another sort of more practical idea that people could take away. And then just wanted to go on to the sort of more emotional side. So, I think you said about, not being able to do either to the best of your ability. No, I'm not going to swear actually, but there's so much upon us. It's a stressful time. It is. We can't do what we want to do, and there is a bit of worry in all of us that we might get it. That our loved ones might be affected about this. So what's really important for us right now? And that's what we need to take a step back and think about. So what matters most? And I think lots of people would say right now, what matters most is the health and safety of their loved ones. And then after that, what is it? When you look back at these 3 months or however long we're going to be, what is it that you're going to want to look back and say, this is what we achieved, and that can be from parenting, that can be as a family, as a couple, that can be as an individual, and also as an employee. So thinking about the things that you can do that this opportunity of working from home has never given to you. So is it you want to be 100% in from the homeschooling? You want to really understand what they're doing? You want them to be on the top of their game, or is it more around enjoying some stress-free time together, not doing 24 hours a day of, phonics work with your 4-year-old and, and instead just taking the easier way out, doing the fun things that you never get to do with them when you're working full-time, week in, week out. Or is it about being outdoors in the garden, learning new skills together, or making the most of it and just thinking, this is a phenomenal time that we've never had before, and getting clear on exactly what it is you really want to take away. What's really important for you when you think about this time with you and your family together. What's the important thing? And then likewise on the other side of the coin with work, what's really important there? What do they really want from you? What results, and I don't mean how many hours do they want you to sit behind a desk. I mean, what results and outcomes do they really want? And try to get specifics for that. You can't be 8 hours there constantly, can you? But, is it you need to have X report created every day, or, what is it, the actual achievements that you need to, so that you can focus on those, prioritise your workload, prioritise your day and your childcare around those, and make sure that you're feeling like you're winning both at parenting and also at work. So hopefully there's a couple of things there on that one. And next I am going to move on to the comment that Fran made last week, which was, how can you try to react calmly to naughty behaviour when you're constantly on top of each other, really, as a family? So before I start, I think I mentioned earlier, I'm not a child behavioural expert. I am a life coach, and so what I do study is the interactions between humans and why people do what they do. And I also have 2 children, and I see their behaviour day to day and try to understand it from there. So one thing I would say, in my experience, when my children are being sort of naughty or acting out, I think a lot of it, both my oldest and my youngest, it's all around attention. And as much as they won't say that that's what they need is something what even adults we call strokes. And I don't mean sort of stroking your skin going like that, it'll be okay. This is more around stroke is like a positive reinforcement that you're alive. So one way to illustrate it, if you were walking down the road and you passed 100 people and not one acknowledged your existence, you'd really feel put out by that. And so you might, next person you will go, hello, and really so that you get some sort of reaction, and probably a negative reaction as somebody runs away or screams or something like that, but you wanted that reaction. And maybe that's the feeling of the children now, because they're not getting our undivided attention because they can't. And that might be something that's triggering this behaviour. So as much as you can, try not to react in the moment and step back and see what it's for. What do they need? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Are they just bored? Can you give them something more? Can you give them a bit more of structure or something like that, as we talked about Annie's? And then I would say, the second piece, again, this is from my own experience, is that when I snap at the kids, quite often it's very little to do with what they're doing, and it's more around what's going on for me. And it could be that I've not eaten very well. I've been eating rubbish all day or all week. I've drunk nothing but coffee, and so I'm really dehydrated, and that's stressing me. Or I didn't sleep enough. I've not done any exercise. I've not been outdoors, or I've not had any alone time, which is probably a common thing right now. Or maybe I've had an argument with my other half and I've not fully processed it. It's just there in my head, just going round and round and round, something like that. But yeah, so something that maybe it's on my mind and it's just digging on there, and I'm just not reacting. I've just not processed it, and so I'm reacting rather than actually thinking, actually, it's not such a bad thing that they're asking for a snack or whatever. There's no reason, or, yes, they tipped something over, but it was an accident. It's not something that they did on purpose. And also, I think right now there's an element of not being in control, as I mentioned last week, that's stopping us from doing what we want to do, or being isolated from our friends and family. That can also give us a bit of that sort of stress inside. So how do we combat that? I would say, first of all, make more time for yourself. Also do that sort of checks and balances about all of those things. So is there something going on? Have you had an argument today? It could have been at work, or it could be with a husband, or it could be with anybody, but there's somebody who said something that you're just like, actually, it's still in my head and it's playing on my mind and I'm taking it out on the kids. Or is it something to do with sleep or exercise or food or drink or going outdoors or being alone, some of those things. Last year I had the pleasure of hearing somebody called Pip Hare speak. She's a professional yacht racer, and she's doing one of the toughest yacht races in the world this November, called the Vendée Globe Race. And when she was talking, she talked about her priority list, and she had top 10 questions. When she's in the boat, she had 10 questions she had to ask herself. 1, am I going in the right direction? 2, have I eaten? 3, is there enough fuel in the... All of these things that help her get to the right direction at the end of the race. And I found it really important, and I took a lot away from that in thinking, okay, so for me, how do I make sure that I am on the right level or on the right path? And here are the things that I know I need to do. I need to have some alone time. I need to go outdoors. I need to exercise. I need to eat well, sleep well, all of those things. And if one of those things, have I processed any arguments? If one of those things is out of balance, that's when I'm going to feel stressed. So the other thing is around, again, what's really important when we're talking about kids' behaviour right now. Some things you're never going to be okay with, like kids picking their noses and eating it. It's disgusting. It's never going to be okay. Crisis or no crisis, I'm going to tell them off for that. But other things like the house being an absolute tip, where everybody's here all day, we're just going to have to relax those things. So hopefully there's a little bit in there that some people might take away again. And now something came into my inbox today, actually, which was an email from a lady called Danusha. Danusha runs something called theschoolformothers.com. She does really funny. I saw her speak last year, actually. No, this year at the business thing. And she's great. She also had 10 children, which I can't quite fathom, to be honest. She has one set of triplets, but that's it. The rest were individual children. And she runs her own business. So I just like, that in enough was just like, give her a knighthood. But this is what she sent in her email today, and I just thought it was typical. It was really relevant to what we're talking about tonight, so I thought I would share it. So she says, I'm passing along these permission slips for this week's Right Now Stay at Home time. We do not have to teach our kids 13 things a day. We've been told to be a super mum, super career woman, and now we have to be a super teacher. Hell no, screw that. This is our permission slip to trust that our kids won't fall behind on the big life stuff that really matters. Low stress family memories and learning from exploring, bugs, singing, a bit of creative writing and colouring too. To calm your heart, know this. Home learning accomplishes what traditional school does in just 1 hour per day when we take away the bells, breaks, classroom management and busy work of the school day. So if you get to do an hour of something vaguely academic, your class dismissed. On top of this, I'm reminding myself and you that our little ones need to play. Loads of research shows that kids, especially under 6, learn everything developmentally appropriate entirely through play. So if they want to splash about instead of getting quizzed on shapes, know that they are learning exactly what they need. Volume, responsibility and role-playing dynamics without having to teach them anything and without having to stress. Let's join together for a collective amen. Agreed? And secondly, we need to unapologetically treat ourselves now. We know that if we give everything to our family and job, we'll burn out and be of no help to either, and probably pretty awful to ourselves. But it's hard to find the time, I know. But the more stress, the more you time we need. With COVID, our nervous systems are taking a hammering, so find time for something that brings you joy is no longer a nice to have. Girlfriend, lock your bedroom door and holy moly, give yourself a slow coconut massage to Sade, eat chocolate in the bath in peace, candles glowing, and, not or, take a walk, imaginary pooch or not, and listen to a recharging podcast. Find your version of self-preservation because that's what this is. It's time to notch self-care to the hilt. Try it. It works. So that was from a lady called Danusha. What I'm going to do is put all the links for all the stuff that I have found useful or all around this topic within the comments here, so you can come and look back. But before we go, two things, questions I have for you, and please feel free to comment down below. One, what are you doing to help navigate the work-child balance? So I'd like to hear from you what you're doing, just so anybody else who comes along can see your comments and can take them away and find them useful. So please, if you have any tips or tricks that you're using, please put them down. And also, I want to know, what are you doing in terms of self-care for yourself? So for me, 3:00, or depending if it's the weekend, I'll go earlier, but 3:00 when school is finished, I am out for my hour walk along the river, podcast on, and just sunshine, pretty much it has been, and just power walk. And I've got exercise, outdoor time, alone time, hearing something inspirational, all of those things just at once. So I just want to hear, what is it that you are doing to keep yourself sane in this crazy time? So that's it for today. Same time, same place next week. And if there is anything on your mind that you feel like it might be worthwhile me digging into and learning about before next week's session, so I can share it with everyone, please feel free to comment. So thank you very much. Look forward to hearing your comments. Bye.